Hey, what is going on, guys? It is TemperAlliance, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about the new game that I actually cannot wait for as right now. It's not GTA 5, which also I actually cannot wait for because that game is also going to be really good. I actually can't wait for GTA 5, but this is another game that I honestly cannot wait for, and I was in love with their games since like probably 2 years after their first release. And that is The Crew. The Crew looks really good. I've seen trailers. The map is absolutely huge. It's like quoted the biggest open world game ever ever made. So and for me, I love racing games, and especially open world games. And the fact that it's like the biggest open world game ever made is going to make me absolutely excited. I actually cannot wait for this game to come out. It's going to be out next year, which is kind of the disappointing bit, but like good things come to those who wait. So I actually cannot wait for this game to come out, and also GTA 5. I can't wait for GTA 5 to come out as well. But The Crew looks absolutely amazing, and if you guys didn't know, it's actually a French developer who actually helped to make Test Drive Unlimited 1. Now these are the games these are the type of games that I actually fell in love with after like 2 years after its first release. That was the game I was on about earlier on, and those games were absolutely unbelievably good. I remember that the first time playing Test Drive Unlimited 1, I was in love with the game. I loved the fact that it's like a big huge island, and it takes like 20 minutes to get from one side to the other, which is really big. And it was just unbelievably good. And then I got the real game, which by the way my first time was on a demo, so you couldn't really explore much, but on the real thing it was absolutely unbelievable. There were so many cars to buy, there was so much room to drive around in. It could hold up to 8 players though, but besides that, it was absolutely unbelievably good. And then a few years after, Test Drive 2 came out, and when I first got that game went downhill. It kind of went downhill. Like, even though on the trailers it looked absolutely unbelievably good, I couldn't wait for that game to come out, and I was waiting. I was like, come on, game, come out already, why can't it be this time already? And then by the time when the game came out, it was really disappointing, because I was expecting it to be a lot more better than Test Drive 1, because mostly games that comes out, like say for example Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, like Black Ops 2 is supposed to be better than the other game, because they're supposed to make the game a lot more different, a lot more better, so that people can love their game more. And I actually thought it was going to happen for Test Drive, because Test Drive 2 is supposed to have like way better quality than Test Drive 1. It's supposed to have another island, so it's like way more roads to drive on. It's supposed to be a lot better. It actually had a campaign. On Test Drive 1 you had to do challenges all the time, but in Test Drive 2 they actually had a campaign to do, and I actually thought it was really good. And then when it first came out, it just went downhill basically. Like, the servers kept on disconnecting. Like, every 10 minutes the servers kept on disconnecting, and you have to exit the game, go back into the game, and after 10 minutes it'll disconnect again. And when I first got it, the game just didn't load. I was stuck on the loading screen for like ages. It just wouldn't load, and I was trying to find solutions to fix it. And like, you had to install the game in order for the game to work, which shouldn't happen. And then after like a few months later, Aiden Games put this patch in order for the games to work. It did fix a lot. Like, the servers were better, and the loading screen crap, it just worked again, which was really good. But there was some other glitches that they didn't fix. Like, for example, like when you're trying to get out of the car from your house, the car sometimes won't leave the garage, so you're kind of stuck looking at your garage for ages, and you have to exit the game and then go back into it. And there was some solution to fix it, but you shouldn't do that. I think it was like installing the game or something like this, like stop installing it and then like reinstall or something like that. So it was just very bad. And then they brought in another patch. They brought in like a good few patches, which did fix the game, but it just still went downhill because there weren't many cars to drive. They were actually planning to bring in DLC, but loads of people left, and Aiden Games just shut down then after that. So there will be no more DLC cars, which was really disappointing. And and I kind of got excited for nothing. But I know that The Crew is going to be a lot better, because there's actually a story that actually has to do with Test Drive Unlimited 2. So as I said, The Crew is made by a developer who lives in France. He's French, and he helped with Test Drive Unlimited 1, and then after that, like a few years later, he left, or probably like after the release, like a few months after the release, he left and brought some of the whatever who went with him, and they decided to make their own game, which of course is The Crew, and they spent 5 years making the game, which is a lot of time making a one game, so they obviously worked really hard on it. And then they didn't help with Test Drive Unlimited 2, because, you know, they were gone before they even started making the game. And then after Test Drive 2 came out, more people started leaving. They didn't like it, and they started leaving. And then there's some other news that Atari got bankrupt, and Eden Games had no choice but to shut down, because of course people kept on leaving, which was disappointing, but you know, there was nothing that they could do about it. So Eden Games is now done. They're gone. No more Test Drive Unlimited games. And I think Atari still has stuff to figure out with their bankrupting and all that. Is that a word? I don't know. But yeah, but The Crew is now published by Ubisoft. I forgot the name of the company there, but they were published by Ubisoft, so no longer Atari, because like I said, they got bankrupt. So yeah, so actually a lot of people thought that it was going to be made by the people who made Driver San Francisco, but they were wrong. It's actually a guy who is from France. So yeah, so hopefully this game won't go downhill like Test Drive Unlimited 2. I don't think it will be, because they helped with Test Drive Unlimited 1. That turned out pretty good. So yeah, so that game was really good. I actually have to say though, they actually made the games worse. Test Drive Unlimited 1 and 2, they actually made it worse by one for Test Drive Unlimited 2. They didn't bring in much cars, because, you know, people kept on leaving, and, you know, it just went downhill. So that kind of makes sense. And they even made it worse for themselves, because they managed to get shut down, and they stopped the servers for Test Drive Unlimited 1, which was the biggest mistake that they could possibly ever make in their whole entire lives. That game was way better than Test Drive 2, and they just fecked it up basically. And, you know, that was like a big mistake that they can't undo now, because, you know, they're gone, no more of them. So yeah, but The Crew, hopefully it'll be good. It's going to be like the biggest open world ever, like I said. So it's going to be huge. It's going to be bigger than the Test Drive Unlimited maps, possibly both put together. Well, yeah, both put together with the 2 islands on Test Drive Unlimited 2. So yeah, so they said, I don't know who said this, but the guy who works there said that with the fastest car and with the quickest route, it'll take to at least 45 minutes to get from one side to the other. That is unbelievably big. Like, that is super huge. Like, that's gonna be big. It's like, whoa, it's gonna take so long. And, you know, it's only like 15 minutes away from an hour, and with the fastest car and the shortest route. Like, damn it, like, imagine if you pick the slowest car and the longest route, or, you know, something like that. It'll take over an hour. And there's supposed to be like so many cities, like New York, Miami, or something like that. I can't really name them, but it's huge. And also for cars, you can customize them. You can turn it into like a mini monster truck type of thing. That's what I would call it, because, you know, that's what they look like to me. But you can change it from like a normal car to this big, like, kind of upgraded car that can drive off road, and it looks pretty good. And, you know, like when you like customize it, the car completely comes apart, and you do up the engine, and then you put the pieces back together. And I think you can put vinyls on it. I'm not really sure about that, but I think you can. I'm not really sure, but you can just put it all together, and you can just like race around with your friends, even cruise if you wanted to. The map is unbelievably huge. I actually can't get over the map. It's freaking huge. Yeah, and you can also do challenges if you wanted to. You know, like, all you gotta do is drive up to like the little icon that's on the road, and you will just be in the challenge, and you do whatever the challenge tells you to do. And if you finish, I don't think you get money. I'm not really sure how that works. If you win, they never really said, but you know, if you want to do challenges, then it's there, or you can like cruise around. It kind of works the exact same way as a Test Drive Unlimited did. You know, there is like, you know, there is only like an online game. To say, like, if you like, say if you're offline, like there'll be computers, there'll be like AI driving around with you. But if you're online, it's like an always online game, and you can play with other players. It holds up to 8 players. It works the exact same way as Test Drive Unlimited did, but hopefully, you know, they don't go downhill. I'm really hoping that they didn't, but I don't think they will, because they helped with Test Drive 1 and that turned out okay. That turned out brilliant, actually. What am I on about? And you know, I just fell in love with the game, and you know, hopefully they can bring us the best and the most fun game that they could ever possibly make. And it took them 5 years, so they worked their like asses off just to make this game, so you know, fair dues to them. And hopefully there's a load of cars to pick, and hopefully they'll bring in DLC for cars. I'll probably not even get it, but you know, like for other people they might bring in some DLC, and with more cars to drive. So yeah, that's actually pretty much it. That's actually all the news that I can give you about the crew. I honestly cannot wait for this game to come out, and if you are racing fans like me, then I could just unbelievably, you know, I just think you can't wait for it as well, especially if you're like a free roaming guy like me. So yeah, anyway, that's actually pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did give this video a like, it's appreciated when you like it. It'll help me to grow my channel. Also, leave a comment down below and tell me what you guys think. Are you gonna get the crew when it comes out, or are you just gonna say, nah, I'm into like more of like a shooting game? You know, leave those comments down below, and also subscribe if you want to see videos like this in the future. And that's actually pretty it from me. So that's pretty much it from me. That's what I meant to say. So that's actually pretty much it. Once again, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.